Okay. Welcome everyone to this meeting of the Nantucket Historic District Committee. It is Thursday, June 23rd at 1:04. Present on Zoom are Abby Camp, Diane Coombs, and Carrie Thornwell. Present live at this time, Val Oliver and myself, Dave Cole. I think that's got everyone right. I think so. Okay, so that's a quorum. So first order of business would be to approve today's agenda.
So move.
Thanks, Diane. On Diane's motion, Carrie,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Val.
Aye.
Very good. Diane,
Aye.
thank you. Actually, who gave you the motion? I've forgotten already.
Diane.
Oh, Diane, on your motion, okay, good, and I'm in favor, so that means it passes. We have an approved agenda. Public comment? Oh, just for those of you in the audience, it is boring saying this time, but if you could mute your phones, and if you are recording any portion of today's meeting, let us know in advance, so we don't violate RICO statutes. That's that. And is there any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move right along to the consent agenda, from which I need to recuse, which means that Abby, can you chair? Actually, let's see, myself and Carrie need to recuse. Anybody else? No, right? No. So Abby,
Yep, I'm ready to do.
Abby, your board on this one would be Val, Diane, and yourself.
Okay, great.
Oh, and guess what? Stephen Welch just joined us live.
Okay.
You have one more person. You've got four now. Okay, so you want to go ahead with that?
Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Diane. On Diane's motion to approve consent, Valerie,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
and myself, I'm an aye. Thank you, Diane.
Great. Okay, so next up is consent with conditions from which only Carrie needs to recuse. So can I have a motion on that one?
Motion.
Okay, Diane's made a motion to approve consent with conditions on that motion. Val,
Aye.
Stephen, Abby,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
none in favor. Motion carries.
I'm
That's
holding
consent
mine. Yeah.
Okay, I think that was already the motion from the last one, so we can just let that one ride. Okay, so now we're to old business of 5/17, May 17th. Do we have Tesla people here?
I'm the homeowner. I just texted Tesla.
I'm on as well. I believe the homeowner's there also.
Well, who is speaking? Let's see.
I'm sorry, this is Nathan with Tesla Energy.
Okay. And apparently, let's see what you got for a board right now, because Abby's chairing. Oh, it looks like you're in pretty good shape, because you have Diane, you have Val, you have Stephen, and you have Carrie all on board. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Okay, so let me just make sure I get it straight before I send it over to Abby to chair. Do we have everyone from your team here, either Zoom or live?
Lowercase TT, because it's just me, the homeowner, and Nathan from Tesla.
So you're not waiting for anybody else?
Correct.
Okay, so you can proceed. Okay, so Abby, it's to you.
Okay, JP, am I talking to JP Hernandez? Or who am I? Who's proposing the application?
JP is going to. Oh, yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah, come closer because this is the mic. And it might not pick you up that far away.
Sorry, I'm
Okay, so Abby,
getting.
JP is just moving closer to the mic so you can hear him, okay?
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Floor is mine. Okay, well, we put together a little presentation here that I was hopeful would be responsive to the feedback we got at our first go around. And I will do my best to summarize that. You know, there's a lot of input, so feel free to straighten me out if I have a bad synthesis here. But I think it really came down to two things primarily. There was the question of, will these Tesla solar shingles be unacceptably shiny, reflective, etc. And there was a desire to see a better sample, a bigger sample that's right there apparently. And so that you guys could, so you could do your own sort of taste test with that, you know, inspect it. We tried to get you something the first go around. Apparently, it was too small and also shattered upon delivery or something. So this is now that sample.
Excuse me?
As well as we wanted to put together. So I'm digressing. Let me back up. The other salient concern was just, apparently a Duke's Road home was approved with not a Tesla product, but another.
Dow.
Dow, okay, it sounds like Dow, that was from me.
Yep.
So, and apparently that Dow product didn't age in a way where we're happy with how it aged. So there was a question about durability and what could be done to provide assurances there. So I've tried to create some materials here again that are responsive to that, but you know, we can go in whatever direction you like. I used, I don't know who's at the.
I do. Where would you like me to go?
If you want to go to that presentation, there's a page, I just call it the framework. And I'm being a little bit playful here, but the idea was just to say, you know, imagine we were picking a restaurant, you know, your friend takes you to New York and says, you know, the best steakhouse and that you want, where do you want to go? What's a quick way to kind of synthesize, you know, all that and sort of say, what's a good place to go? So I'm suggesting that, and this is a framework I would now try to apply to the Tesla case, but if you look across customer opinions, the expert opinions like the Michelins of the world and so on, if you get a little info on the cause-effect relationships, you know, what's the food quality, where do they source their products from, et cetera. And if you had some samples, you could taste test. If you had all those inputs, everything under the sun, but you had those inputs and you synthesize them, boy, there's a high probability you're going to make a good choices. So this was just a little illustration of that. You don't need to digress there unless you want to. But if that sort of approach makes sense, then what I would do is sort of carry on to what we found on terms of customer views on the specific questions of shininess and durability. So if you want to give us the next page, please. The best source we could find for this, we thought about just calling up a bunch of like customers and doing it like, you know, sort of hand-to-hand combat, getting that, you know, that picture. Turned out that was actually unnecessary. There's Consumer Affairs, which has a database of 410 reviews from customers. And they do, I'm not going to digress into it unless you want to, but there's a link there that you can see, sort of, you know, convince yourself or not that Consumer Affairs is doing a good job making sure that they're accurate, objective reviews. And they come back with sort of a synthesis of, you know, every customer is really happy with that product, 4 and 5 star reviews. They love the product. What's noisy is the execution, the price changes or the installation delays or you name it. But the product itself, people rave about it. And Tesla itself, or excuse me, Consumer Affairs, when they're synthesizing these 400 some reviews, they talk about the panel having great modern and pleasing aesthetics. They talk about the durability 3 times stronger than traditional roofing tiles, they say. And so then if you go to the next page, these are just selected reviews. I did go through page by page to see did anybody say anything negative at all about the durability or about shine. I couldn't find it. But I mean, it's not out there, but I just, oops, I'm on the wrong page on my own side. And these are just a few illustrative examples. I mean, the commentary that is coming back on the aesthetics is by and large favorable on these questions. I won't read these unless you want me to.
Yeah, no, I think we got the idea. Thank
Okay.
you.
Sure. And then expert opinions, it's a similar picture. I'm guessing, if you want to go to that next one up, I guess, higher up, pardon me. Other way. It's going to be called expert reviews, is that first page. And I would guesstimate that after our initial meeting, I probably read about 25 some reviews from experts or some true experts like Architectural Digest, some people that are just calling themselves experts, but across that, I couldn't find mentions of, that's why I'm here by 0 out of 25. Nobody seemed to comment negatively on this question of the reflectiveness of the tiles. As you go, and again, read them one by one, but you kind of get that synthesis there of, across these reviews, the commentaries tend to go out of their way to call out the indistinguishableness, to make up a word, from traditional roofing materials. And that's, again, whether it's Forbes, Architectural Digest, you name it, it's a consistent pattern in that expert assessment. Now, the thing and so if you want to go to the next one after expert reviews, what I sort of shaded, this is the only one I didn't shade, in popping green. I sort of gave it I'm giving ourselves, we'll see what your assessment is, but sort of half credit on this. Like, I was hoping that Nathan and I would get on the phone and say, boy, there's got to be somebody at Tesla who can talk to us about the fundamental cause effect, the material science that went into this product, because they're geeks at Tesla, and I'm sure they've thought about this stuff. So we were hoping to find the right people who could say, yes, this is what technology is built into there to reduce any glare, make them look like conventional. I wanted to come to the table with all of that today. And I have to admit, we didn't get far with that. We ended up having to rely on external resources primarily. But what I have here, I'm happy to play the video if you want to see it, but it is a gentleman who I guess has developed a reputation as a kind of expert in online expert, I suppose, on solar technology. And he goes through and talks specifically about the intellectual property that Tesla has to reduce glare. There's a selected quote there, which you can read if you want to watch the video, if you want to indulge. If you don't want to indulge in the video, okay. But suffice to say that that Tesla does have real IP that's built into this to reduce glare, make the shingles look like a conventional roof. Now, if we go to the next one, I think we didn't get exactly what we wanted from Tesla, so we're a little bit having to cobble this together the best way we can. And I think this is on the question of the cause effect, like the actual material science of durability. So we can proxy this a few ways. First of all, the roof has been independently certified to extremely high standards on hail, wind, fire. I'm not an expert on these bodies, but I understand these are the formative bodies on all those topics. That video there on the hail thing will show you more like softball-sized pieces of hail having no impact on a solar roof, for example. And so all these classifications, I think, are a good way for us to approximate that the durability, that the wear and tear is going to be a non-factor. In the event that that's a bad bet, that we get another Dow, first of all, personally, I would step up if I had to and replace it. I'd give you my promise to do that, but I don't think it would come down to that. The Tesla warranty is good insurance. The language in there, which I've quoted from, reads that the solar shingles will remain free from defects in design and materials for 25 years. And so I think we can lean on that in the event that somebody comes by 10 years from now and says, it's not looking like it did back in the day. Okay, I'll try to stop talking and get out of your way. The last thing I had here was just to highlight the solar roof example itself, which I think is consistent with everything I've just been describing. A few other sources for photos. These are Cape. This first column is from the Cape approvals that Nathan oversaw, and with happy customers and all the rest. Then Tesla customer service supplied a few, and then I just cribbed a few from news sources. So you can have those as additional perspective. Their photos and all that. So there's, take it with a grain of salt, but I think all consistent with what we're trying to describe. I think the final page is just me really saying, look, as I look across these different perspectives, I come away feeling warm and fuzzy. And I think not unreasonably so. I think this is an evidence-based approach that's leading to that. And look, I'm the last person that wants the things that HDC has been raising questions about to emerge. If in fact I ended up with a shoddy roof that's going to deteriorate fast, it's going to shine like a mirror, I'm going to be more unhappy than you guys are. And I'll have spent a lot of money in the process. So, all of this has left me coming away feeling better about this decision than when I started. So I'll close that.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you for that presentation, JP. I'd like to hear from the board.
Madam
So,
Chair,
yes,
I just wanted, from the staff's perspective, just remind the commission that this structure is a contributing resource, does have an HDC survey from the 1960s. It is different, as we all are aware. Obviously, technology is changing, but I just wanted to ask these HDC photos that were given as an example on Cape Cod. It would be really, I think, helpful to know exactly where those locations are and know what the parameters for their requirements are, to, kind of synthesize. Again, I'm just, we do have existing design guidelines, as you're aware. And this is new technology, obviously, that I think everybody wants to embrace, but at the same time, is it appropriate for the historic district? So those are my comments, Madam Chair. Thank you for the opportunity.
thank you, Holly, for that. So you wanted information about where those exactly were on the Cape? Like Chatham? JP,
Correct. I
can you
think
answer
that would be very helpful.
I can answer that if I may. Both of those were in Yarmouth, in the Old Kings Highway Historic District. The address is 27 Magnolia Road, and I can't remember off the top of my head the other one. I did send a list, I believe, to Esmeralda a while back, if the board did want to go see them. But I can't remember the second one off the top of my head, but they were both in Yarmouth in the Old Kings Historical District.
Okay, all right,
Thank
thank
you,
you
that's
for that. Okay, so now, our board, would anybody like to start?
I have a question. Can we see what the house looks like?
Oh, yeah, can you bring up, do you have a picture of the house, JP?
Must have
Not,
from the first.
I thought I saw it early in your.
I think you guys cobbled it together. I did not provide a modern photo. I think what I saw was what looked like a sort of aged,
Probably
there's a
from
main
the
house now in
assessors.
addition to the cottage, and
Yeah.
so.
Is anybody able to bring a picture of the house up?
I can't get internet in here.
I mean, this won't help our friends online, but.
JB, hold on a second. Can you bring up the Google map?
That's exactly what I was gonna do.
I have plenty of them on my phone, of course.
One, the little one next to Millie's, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. I'm very familiar with that one.
This is helpful or not, but.
This is
Yeah,
it?
I've seen it.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. Little fuzzy, and I can't tell when I was taken, but
One of the
that's good enough.
Yes.
Good enough.
Hold on.
Okay, and I think the board's going to want to know the design of your panels on that roof plane.
Hey, Abby,
Roof.
I think, yeah, I mean, this is not like solar panels. This is the entire roof. Wherever you see roof shingles, that's gonna be these things.
That's correct.
Okay,
It's a little different than what we're used to.
Correct. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I just lead off with that. I was taking all of the prior discussion that we had to, but I guess I should start with that.
so it completely goes from one side of the roof to the other?
Yeah, I mean, if Nathan wants to correct me on this, on anything technical, certainly he can, but the way I would describe it is that the shingles themselves produce the solar. And so what you're seeing in those photos, for those who are here in person that can see the sample, that's going to go across the entirety of the roof. Not every, this is a nuance, not every single panel is actually solar and operational. Some of them are strictly to give the decorative look, a consistent look, but most will actually produce solar.
So on that drawing that's in front of us, you see the areas that don't have the tiles on them? Does that,
I think that's just the rendering.
Mhm.
I mean,
If I may, the drawing there, the tiles you see are the active tiles for solar PV. And the blank spaces would be dummy tiles that would not have the PV inside of them, but they would still be the same tile.
so it would have the same material surface?
Correct.
Yes, correct.
All right. Okay, so let's, can we hear from the board now?
I'll
Uh,
go.
We have, is that Carrie?
Yep.
Yeah, please.
I hate to say it, but this little house reads historically to me. It is in a very prominent position. It's low. The roof is very visible from everywhere. And I'm not convinced. I think the key word to these things is modern in all the descriptions that have been used to describe these things. And this is an historic island, and I think we are trying to hide the more typical solar panels on buildings. Sometimes we can't, but the scale of these things is large, so they're like overscaled for this building, and I think they will stand out a little much. And I'd love to see it somewhere else where we can't see them so prominently. And that's all I have to say. I'm really sad about it because I think this is a great technology and I'd love to see it somewhere, but I don't think this is the right place.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, That's
Thank
my,
you. Thank
thanks.
you, Carrie. I think that's, okay, that's good. Stephen,
Yeah, sure. So I agree with Carrie. I mean, I want to point out, I think currently we tried to hide or at least accentuate through the guidelines, the presence of solar. Hopefully we'll be moving in a fashion to be coming up with integrated designs that are more acceptable. That's a different project. The food analogy is, it's been said we eat with our eyes, and I don't think there's anything more true than here at the HTC. We're, visually oriented. That's what we're here to judge and review. I think when you get into that, the homogeneity is an important aspect. I think that while this particular application doesn't meet our guidelines, I think it goes a long way with respect to eliminating the issues that we currently find with solar panels, which is a sawtooth at hip valleys and not being able to go from one end of the roof to the other or from the eave to the ridge. So for me, this checks that box. The glare, I think, is going to be dependent on a variety of factors, not least of which is our environmental haze, dirt, sunlight, cloudy sky, not. I think with this particular project, the height of the building works against it, as does the low slope roofs, because that together makes these, the height of the building makes this very visible. Whereas if it were a two-story on a more congested street, context comes into play. If it was on a more congested street where you can't see over a distance on a taller building, this wouldn't be visible, even perhaps if it was a steeper pitch roof. So that's problematic. And the other element is scale. And, is what you're eating in proportion to what it is that your appetite is, or in proportion to, are you at a cocktail party or are you at a buffet? And do you have a small plate or a big plate? And what I mean by that is the proportion of these tiles are with respect to traditional, typical tile materials used on a roof, which are shingles. They are tremendously large and in comparison. I think that that's problematic with respect to the culture, the visual culture we have here on island. I'm not suggesting it's insurmountable, but in this particular instance, on this particular house, I think it's going to be very problematic on the front elevation. I would strongly support the concept, and I know that this may not be financially viable, but maybe take one for the community, is putting these on the rear of the home or on the, and or on the rear of the main structure. I didn't look at the lots. I was remiss in not reviewing. Yeah, I thought they were on the same lot, such that the main structure on the rear dormer tiles could be put there, and on the main roof to pick up what can't go on the front. And that would accomplish two things. One, you get your solar well along the volume of tiles you need for the kilowatts you're looking for. But it also would give us an opportunity to actually view these in place. And I think after that fact, that may be that, you know, what we actually see in front of us versus, which I understand should be similar, but there is a definite difference. It's like you see a picture of food, you smell the food, you're in person with food, you smell the food, you see the food, it's a little bit different. But if those were in place, perhaps that would allow us to be acting on having tiles on the front. That certainly would help us in terms of overall for the community to see an installation of these. So those are my comments for now. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Stephen. Diane,
Yeah, I think that it is, the tiles look bigger than what we're used to. This is a historic building. What I would like to see is, and we did this some time ago, Val will remember, we allowed some shingles going on a house down on Duke's Road, which faces the right, it faced the right direction, but you couldn't, it wasn't out at your eye gleaming. I would like to see this somewhere that we could see what it looks like in reality here, because we're different in atmosphere and everything else than the Cape. We're different in the size of the shingles. So what we've heard said today, this afternoon, is right, but I would like to see it up somewhere. I don't think we can go somewhere else and look at it. I think it needs to be up somewhere where it is not out in public, that we can see it actually on a roof. That's it. That's what I think.
hey, thank you, Diane. Val,
I was thinking along the same lines as Stephen. I wouldn't mind allowing it on the rear, which is the south, and see how that looks.
I'll make a motion.
I have to go, Stephen.
Oh, sorry, I thought you wanted to do-
So I feel that on this particular house, it may not be our oldest house, but it does have that old fashioned charm, the scale. And I think it's highly visible, and I don't think it's the example. I would like to do an example of the Tesla shingles tiles, but I don't think this is the location. Those are my thoughts. Stephen, what would you like to say?
I note that the southern elevation is typically where these are installed for solar gain. Number one. Number two, I'll make a motion. My motion is that through staff, this be approved on the southern roof, which is the rear of the home, and at the applicant's option on the southern roof, which is the rear of the main home, on the dormer and the main roof.
Okay, so on both houses and the back?
Yeah, and the second house at the applicant's option, because I understand you're involved in just putting up solar panels.
And what about the color of the north facing roof on the cottage? Is that going to change to sort of meld in with the color of the solar panels so it doesn't glare different?
I don't think it will, but for me, there's no way you're going to see both these roof planes at the same time.
Right.
So I don't particularly have an issue with it. I know that I don't particularly have an issue or concern with it because it is appropriate with the rules, our guidelines. This will be, I presume, side to side installation. and eave to fascia to ridge. So the entirety of the roof plane will be covered with what is in essence a black tile, which is consistent with our guidelines. So I will just on that point, if it's acceptable on the motion, add that the installation or installations will cover the entirety of the respective roof plane. Thank you.
Stephen, just one question on the back house. Does that also have dormers? Do we know? In the
Yeah.
back?
It does. It has a large dormer on the rear, at least according to the roof plan I see.
And those are to be covered as well?
Yeah.
If he
so
chooses to.
if he chooses to put it there, the respective roof planes are to be covered wherever it's been installed.
Okay, all right, I get it. On Stephen's motion, Carrie,
Well, I'm stuck on the roof color of the existing front piece that I do think it should match. And it looks to me like if that's a current photo, he'd want to change the roof color anyways. So I would say if that were a dark gray, not that one, but the little dwelling, I'm stuck on that. I think it really shouldn't be two totally different colors because I think you probably will be able to see both sides of this at some point, whether it's from Millie's, you know, you see the backside and then you see the front. I would say yes, if I knew the color would be closer than what exists with the black Tesla.
right, which brings up another point. As I'm looking at the older house on the road where you wanted to put it, it doesn't look like a brand new asphalt roof. It looks pretty old and it would be a shame to, you know, do all this work without having done the groundwork for the shingles underneath.
These are shingles.
Yeah,
You don't put this on top of a shingle. This is a shingle.
this is
Right.
the roof.
Correct. May I add something? We stripped the entire roof and put it over in place of shingles. And unfortunately, the talk of just doing the rear roof, we can't do just part of the roof with the solar shingles. It would have to be the entire roof. The engineering just wouldn't work with the ridge line and the way it connects.
Nathan, if I could just talk with you offline about it, I'd like to see what they're willing to do or what they're not willing.
Sure, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so, but to Carrie's point is that the shingles that are on the front of the house now are going to be in contrast to the,
Right, but I think, Madam Chair, we have a motion on the floor. and-
okay, so let's go with it. Okay, so Carrie, are you a no?
I'm a no on that.
Okay, Diane, Uh-oh. Diane, are you muted?
No, I'm a no.
Oh, okay. Val,
I'm a yes, and I did read on some houses, historic houses. I Googled it to see how these are integrated, and a couple of places have done it, and it's only been on the rear because the house was historic. So I think it can be done. I think it's a good test case.
okay, and thank you, Val, and I am an I, because I feel it may be seen at an oblique angle, but I think it's going to be okay to test it on the back. So that passes.
I'd like to vote, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, Stephen, on your,
I'll cement it with an aye.
Yeah, that was.
okay, thank you.
I'd like to say if I would be an I if I knew that front roof would be dark shingle. And I think if you're gonna replace the roof anyways, you might as well try to get a dark shingle to,
Madam Chair, will you indulge me for a moment?
Yes,
I just wanted to say, Carrie, I don't necessarily disagree, but I think these, once they're up, are gonna probably be less potentially offensive than we think and may even be satisfactory. And
be
by
great.
requiring that at the front, he'll be, putting that up. The sequence wouldn't work for him to then put a new roof on the front, put these on the back, and then immediately put them on the front. There would have to be an interval where he would put new shingles on the front. So at least this way, it's not insult to injury. If
Right.
you have to have these guys come back and put it on the front because we approve it on the front. He doesn't then have to also rip off a brand new roof. That was the only reason I was thinking it.
I get what you're saying. Thank you.
Talking about it so long, I didn't want to belabor it.
Well, so that was actually something I didn't quite understand. So you're leaving the door open
Right,
for a test case. They go on the south. And if everybody goes out and takes a look at them on the south, and we go, hey, not bad, then I think you can get them on the north too.
Right, without having to rip off a brand new roof.
That was what
That's
you
what
just
I-
expressed well.
Yeah.
Yes, got it.
At that point, if they're not okay for the front, then the front can be newly shingled with dark. That's my point.
Use some of your electrical savings on that. And just a quick comment, I'm not the expert on this, but I've researched it. These can be installed like shingles. They don't necessarily have to be connected on those ones that aren't going to fit into the system because they're cut. So you can ultimately have tiles that are dead, but they're fillers.
Yeah,
Right.
Fillers are gonna look, unless we use a non-Tesla product, the fillers are
sorry.
gonna look just like.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
don't plug them into the grid and they're cut to fit. So, you say it's only a 1 foot section, a full grid works out from left to right. You get all the way to the end and it's only 1 foot wide. Well, you can't plug in a tile that's been cut. But you can cut a tile and not plug it in.
well, his diagram showed that.
yeah.
His
I just-
diagram showed all the full ones, and then anything that wasn't full was the leftover cut.
Yeah, and I'm just responding to the individual who was on the Zoom commenting about.
Oh,
That's Nathan who's with Tesla, so I'm gonna talk to them offline. I'm glad to have something approved and we'll see what Tesla can and can't do.
hey, we're all hoping that's gonna work out.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Thank you, JP.
Well, thank you guys as well. You guys got into talking about this in a way where I think, it went into my little brain and I didn't understand it all. So it would be helpful to, if there's some verbiage, I don't know how you do this, but something that lets me know exactly what I'm allowed to do.
Oh, yeah, well, so the minutes are going to, actually,
They'll reflect
the
your
minutes
specific approval.
and there's gonna be verbiage that's
Yes.
applied to the.
If you
to the
wanna give-
Approval.
And there's a video and on the town YouTube.
Give the
Basically,
approval
put
to
it on the
Steve so he can
south,
write the
if you're
second.
planning, you put it on, make sure you cover it left to right, top to bottom.
Well, we're gonna write it on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
approval.
Abby,
Yes.
what is the actual
And then I know
motion made?
I'm out of time already, but.
Motion is to put them on both buildings on the back.
This is a shit
No, I
Madam
wrote that
Chair,
down 'cause,
I believe the application is only for the front cottage, correct?
Yeah, I thought
Stephen-
it was just for the front cottage.
It's just
Stephen,
one structure.
Stephen, can you clarify that?
Pardon me?
That, the question is it on both houses or just the front?
It's at the owner's discretion.
Yeah,
If he wants to put them on the back, he just got approval to do so. If he doesn't want to put them on, he doesn't have to.
yeah, because I
Okay,
understand controllers and wiring, it's totally different animal. But, so he's got an option to put it on either or both.
Okay, thanks, good discussion.
Thank you, guys. I took up a lot of time, but I do still have one question because it's my first
Go forward.
I guess, second rodeo. In term, I appreciate Stephen trying to create the optionality. Of you do the back sides, you guys put eyes on like what, how that goes. It would be helpful for me as I'm thinking about the financial implications of doing it in that manner. Half now, maybe halfway there if I can get the approval. What a likely cycle time is for them. Because that will have an impact.
For our review?
Yeah.
Well, how can we tell until they're on there?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're,
Yeah, they need to be up.
No, no,
yeah,
of course.
you're talking paperwork.
May I interject? The approval is only good for 3 years for you to act on it.
That part is cool. Yeah.
Okay.
that's something-
And, sorry,
No problem.
if you're gonna do both structures, we do need another application.
It's
'cause-
through, okay.
Yes,
It's through staff. So it's going to consent.
Correct, but I still need 2 applications for
If we do
record
that.
keeping.
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm
thank
sorry.
you, Esmeralda. That's,
No, I understand what you're asking, so I'm going to interject on top of that. Thank you. That's helpful clarification. I didn't think about it. I know that in the building department, someone will need to have two permit applications.
Correct.
It's a $75 fee. I think what JB is asking is, if he does one, how long is it going to be after that he get approved on the other? And I can't speak for the commission, but I would say that
We look at it.
we'll look at
Yeah.
it, and we have an
We like
interest
it.
in getting this, not this particular application, approved, but if it's acceptable, getting these done and out of the way,
Yeah.
both with respect to just an application, but
As soon
also
as we
because
do them,
solar.
we're gonna let you know.
Yeah,
Okay, because everybody and their brother is interested in this. Okay, so, you know, as soon as they're up, you let us know, and we'll go out and take a look.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. Hey, is anybody on board for Sun Wind? In Zoom?
Don't see him.
Don't see, okay, we're gonna cross that one over. How about Chip Webster, see you around?
Don't see him either.
That's right. Okay, let's call you,
See
Dave,
him.
about this.
How about Matt McCacker?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
he requested to hold all of his items till Tuesday. Yes.
Hey, Alan,
Wow,
you're up,
you
dude.
didn't think you're gonna make it, but you got it, brother. Come on up. Okay, so can we just hold new business at 5:24 and old business at 5:31 for rep?
So moved.
General, thank you. On that motion, Stephen,
hi,
Abby,
Aye.
Diane,
Hi,
Harry,
I
and Val. And Rick. Five away. I'll just say I just. for sake. Okay, all right, so Alan, 131 Walnut Road.
Yes. 31 Walnut Road is a cottage that was moved onto the property in 1909.
Wow, it's moved on in 1909.
Yes,
Okay,
so since that time, a lot of sand has blown around the building, but not underneath the building. So there's sections of the building that are underground, basically.
Yeah.
Uh,
it's not uncommon out there.
So the fact that the sand blew around the building has left a hole underneath the building. So there's a wet spot under the building. The owners would like to raise it 4 feet to get it up and out of the wet. There's pictures that show the water around the building.
Al, I think maybe we can cut to the chase on this. So basically, I'm familiar with the houses out there. The dunes sort of pile up around them. And the next thing you know, well, the sand doesn't go under the house, but it does go up to the perimeter of the house. So all you want to do is boost it up
Mhm.
so that it's having the same relationship with the dune that it probably had like 50 years ago. Okay,
Yes,
and this would be on stilts.
it's gonna be on a Healy pile.
Oh, okay.
And then closed in, right? with top-
Yes.
Yeah.
So the issue is that this is the back that you're looking at, that's the front that faces the harbor. The last picture was of the back and it's right beyond that back picture is the seal of water there. Is right by the blue shower is the septic system and it doesn't have access to the road behind, it only has access to the road in front. Unfortunately, the wetland delineation runs on a parallel, like from the front corner of the porch back to the rear of the house. So half the house is sitting in the wetland.
Right.
So it
Kind of
can't be
like that
moved,
old place that, yeah,
it
yeah.
can't be moved forward, it can't be moved back. It's gotta be pushed straight up in the air. Drive pilings underneath it and then lowered back down.
Right. So have you been in Concom with this?
Well, there's an open permit. No, it doesn't have Concom approval yet. But there's an open permit for some other Concom stuff that has been worked on.
And what's the magic behind 4 feet? Just that it allows you enough time for more buildup?
Well, the magic behind 4 feet is that to reach design flood elevation, it would have to go 8 feet in the air.
Oh, no
So
kidding.
4 feet seems to be the
Okay,
equal
all right.
spot for.
Enough said. Okay, got it.
So the only real concern that would change would be the railing,
Right.
You would have to
because for
go to
safety-
code rail.
right?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
So, yeah, Holly, you got something?
Yeah, so this would be considered, first of all, the Lookout Cottage. I think it's awesome that it moved there in 1909. A little bit of more history. It was also called the House of Mirth because it was owned by Dr. Maurice Alborn. This history was actually in Mrs. Lamb's While Winnet Unzipped book. And some of you might remember Jane Lamb. She was a teacher way back in the day. She was an elementary school teacher. So there's obviously some history here, but I want to applaud Alan and his owner. This is a low elevation project within our resilient Nantucket design guidelines that you all adopted June of last year. So that's the preferred elevation. He's already provided us an elevation certificate, which is great. I also like the fact that this proposal does not include anything else to the cottage. It's simply elevating it and getting it out of the water. And he's proposing to keep or have the vertical board, which is consistent with what you all approve, instead of having the horizontal that is existing. And I greatly appreciate this this proposed project. So HSAB did not look at it. They did look at the historic determination. I guess this application file wasn't available when they were reviewing it, but they were okay with the historic determination, and you already all approved it on consent tonight. So.
Okay, so just to put a finer point on what you just said about no other alterations, there's going to be a couple, including the railing, which could be done with wire between the rails that are there right now, and then the addition onto the steps. Because it's getting lifted up, you'd have to add more steps.
Right.
Other than that, I don't see anything that would be required given the change in the height.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Board members.
I'm okay with this.
She's okay. Val beat you to it. She's okay with it. How about you, Steve?
Yeah, I don't have any material.
I'm okay with it.
Okay,
Diane's okay.
thank you, Diane. I don't have any material concerns, but I would like to get some specifics out through Mr. Chair. So the boards that look like the vertical boards are going to be like a 1x10. The separations look where they're going to be a 1x3 with 10-inch separations, or a 1x10 with 3-inch separations. And I think it'd be more appropriate to knock those down to no more than a 1-inch separation. Airspace between the boards, or is this meant to be a solid with battens?
No, it's not meant to be solid. The issue that I have is the building isn't going to meet FEMA regulations and doesn't have to because of the age. So I would like to have the spacing in the vertical boards as much as possible so that I can have wind and water and sand move as freely as possible in and out. So there's nothing in I could find nothing in the Resilient Nantucket document concerning what the spacing was. And like I said, this building's half in the wetland. So the bigger the spaces, the better, as far as I'm concerned, because that way, it's a Ely pile foundation. Boards basically for a visual break underneath the building. But functionality, the bigger the spaces I can get, the better it would be.
I want to speak to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I would agree with you if we were actually talking about water. I think that, this is outside of our jurisdiction, except for as it affects the aesthetics. So regardless of whether it's in the rule guidelines or not, which I'm not disagreeing on, it still is the aesthetic. The wider board with in the sand plane is actually going to allow you to, you're going to accrete on one end, but it's not going to necessarily blow all the way through. So in conjunction with the Concom approval, I believe you can get an ongoing maintenance order, so that if this were a more solid board on the side where the wind is typically blowing the sand up from the beach side, you can clean it up as it's there. Whereas if it's an open space, it's just going to be going in underneath and filling one side of a structure, much as a sand dune develops, much as a snow dune develops. With the wind blowing, it builds up, and then it's going to get to a certain height, and then it's just going to be blowing and bouncing off the house. So I think that the 1 inch is typical or smaller. And I do think it's appropriate. And that's not with a prejudice.
1 inch spacing.
Yes, and that's not with a prejudice. If you can come back at a later date, get into your process with, you got plenty of work to do. And you can say, hey, look, this is the science, dude. I'm more than willing to be persuaded.
And I'm gonna add to that. If the boards are wider and you're staying with 1 inch, it makes more sense to go with narrower boards because you're gonna get more air in relation. to the floor.
Yes.
So if it was a 1x6 or even a 1x4, you're gonna get much more air than if it's a 1x10.
Well, sure. The issue is the water. The water is gonna move in
And
and
the
out.
water is certainly in a move. yes.
So the bigger the space is, the better, as far as I'm concerned. If there's a precedent that I'm missing, that's fine, that's fine. But
Well, the only
Mr.
thing.
Chair, are we going around the table, so everybody gets to speak?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that, but I just kind of want to stay on this because this seems to be the most important part of this whole thing, honestly.
whatever you
That-
recommend,
Yeah,
that's what I-
the 1 inch is coming from, if you imagine all these houses down in Brant Point, we've got these vertical boards to make up the horizontal. To make up the difference between the floor level and the grade, because it's substantial. Usually it's about 1 inch, the space. So that's where Stevens comes from. But so, thanks, Stephen. Abby, you want to go next?
Yeah, I went back when you were talking about 10 inch, I was looking at my scale here and 10 inches seems really large and
Wow.
would not allow those elements to go through. So I think the idea of a 6 with a 1 inch gap would be preferable
Okay.
aesthetically.
Well, right now they have them horizontal.
Right, and he's gonna change them to vertical, which I think is appropriate, and I think that Holly actually agreed with that. Okay, Abby, that's it?
Yeah.
Great, let's see, Diane, did you go?
No, I haven't gone yet.
Okay, go
I-
ahead.
I think that the small size with the 1 inch or even 2 inches, whichever you find better, is good. That's what I would go with.
Okay,
Vertical, not horizontal. I mean, not horizontal, but vertical boarding.
okay. Sounds good, Val.
I'm good.
All right.
Make a motion
Yeah, go ahead.
through staff, the board to be 1x6 and spacing to be between 1 and 2 inches.
Sounds perfect. On that motion, Abby. Abby, you're muted, dear.
Yeah, I think 2 inches is going to look odd.
All right, how about 1.5 inches?
Yeah, I think max.
Okay,
So
so
then,
1 to 1.5 inches. We'll go with the 1. We'll just call it 1.5.
yeah,
Okay, so 1x6 with 1.5 inch spacing, that's Stephen's revised motion. You okay on that, Abby?
Yes.
Very good. Diane,
I,
thank you. Val,
Aye.
very good. Stephen on your motion?
Aye.
And I'm in favor. Motion carries. Thank you, Al.
Thank you.
Very interesting.
And thank you, Holly, for your
Yeah,
help.
Holly is, she's a big help around here. Okay, so, see you later. Nice seeing you.
You too.
Anybody
Get
here
out.
for 56 South Shore Road? Get one of those cupcakes. Nobody for South Shore Road?
And I just sent my people home for 28 weeks, so, because I didn't think we'd get to
But
them.
Can you do it without them?
we're here.
You want to try it without? them?
Well,
Isn't that controversial?
no, but I think they wanted to be here in case.
Oh,
Oh, really?
But they probably want to get it.
Relish more.
All right, I'll try it.
Let's go. Carrie, you're on this one.
Got it.
They're gonna laugh.
We're gonna laugh. or
No,
they-
they're gonna laugh because I was like, we're never gonna get to you. You guys shouldn't waste your time.
And then all of a sudden 12 people
I know.
bag out.
This is a,
What are we talking about?
Which project do you mean? Diane?
I see it now. It hadn't come up on my screen till right now. Thank you.
Oh, it's Val Oliver.
yeah, and I was just saying that they were both here. And I told them to leave because we weren't gonna get to them. And here we are. This is in Richmond Development.
Mhm. Okay.
It's at the culmination of a V in the road out there, and our front door is facing where the parking is, not the street. I don't know what else to really tell you about it. It's a building with a garage attached. One-story living room, and that's 8'9" in height. Black sash and doors, black roof, and gray trim.
All right. Thank you, Val. Who would like to start?
I'll go, and then I can shut up the dogs. I think it's fine. I think that the hip roof over, maybe that could be simplified to just a shed. That's
Over the
all I-
garage doors.
what?
Over the garage doors.
Yeah, over the garage doors instead of a,
Be a shed than a hip.
but that's it. Thank you.
Okay, Abby, thank you. Diane, you ready?
I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll go.
Yep.
I appreciate this very much, Val. It's nice to see a second addition over to the right that doesn't go right up to the eave of the main building. I think that it looks great, and I think the fenestration is good, and I have no problems with it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Diane. How about you, Carrie?
Yeah, I think this is fine too. I agree with the little pent roof over the garage doors. And I think the gable facing the west, if it could drop down to be the eave to be lower than the main mass on that piece, it would be better, but it's not a make or break deal. Just that if those ridges didn't align on that piece,
Nice. Yeah.
but it's fine.
Well, they are, one's lower than the other now.
I'm gonna
This-
address
this-
that.
Right, but it's backwards for me. The main one should be higher.
Yeah. Okay.
You're all set, Carrie, right?
Yeah.
Steve.
Just on that pent roof, yeah, shed and reflected on the west elevation. And I agree with the comment about the gables. What I would suggest, I think, given the height of the home and seeing what your program is with window heights, is actually just to make the garage roof the top plate just a little bit taller to get above
Oh,
the other one.
flip them.
Yeah.
Yeah, flip them, but you can go higher.
Yeah, And
Okay.
then the offset on that will be on the west elevation, throw a 6x6 or something lattice up on that side, because it's gonna just appear taller. It's gonna look,
On the west?
yeah, just that one
The
area.
west
the
where
floor
there's
light
just
is.
that blank wall.
Okay,
And I'm sure they're gonna do something with it anyways, but.
all right.
Those are my comments, Mr. Chair.
I think we got lift off. So I think the conditions on the approval would be pent roof over garage goes to a shed. Raise the north gable above the garage, above the eave of the west gable. And to put lattice on the west side of the garage gable. I think
Or a
there's,
little roof over the door. Which one?
which what?
Or a little roof over the pedestrian door.
Oh,
Well, I wouldn't mind that.
Give that a little porch. That would help the west elevation also.
I'll amend it.
Okay,
Wait, so are we ditching the lattice in favor of the little?
I think so.
roof?
I mean,
That's-
they can always put lattice up later, but I think that roof idea is a good one.
Okay, that's a good idea.
okay.
And it will be a practical idea as
Yes.
well. Attractive and practical. That's what we're all about here
Uh-huh.
at the Historic District Commission. Can somebody make that motion?
So moved.
Okay, so the motion is to approve this subject through staff of the change in the roof over the garage doors to be a shed as opposed to a hip. Raise the garage gable enough such that the eave of the garage gable is above the side gable on the garage. And add a pent roof above the people door going into the garage. Those are the three conditions through staff. On Stephen's motion. Abby,
Aye.
thank you. Diane,
Aye.
thank you. Carrie,
Aye.
very good. Stephen on your motion.
Aye.
And I'm in favor. Motion carries. Thank you, Val. All right. Okay, so, who else is in the queue? I mean, we're sort of.
Is anybody in the queue?
Well, we have this poor gentleman who's been sitting in the audience. here.
We have Dinah here for 29 Beachgrass.
Oh, let's,
Wait, hang on. So which one are you here for?
Scarlett O'Hara, 43 Belvedere.
You look just like Scarlett.
You don't look southern to me. I don't mean to be
I'm
at all, a double
I'm
meaning where I
Scarlett
got over
O'Hara.
some line.
Okay, no, so wait, where does that sit in
Number nine.
relation to Diana?
A couple after,
After?
Yes.
3 after. 4.
Oh, I see. Great point. Yeah, okay. We'll get to you. Okay, so Dinah.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Hi there. So you're here to represent 29 Beachgrass, right?
Correct.
Okay, so let's go.
Okay, 29 Beachgrass is a single-family modular construction. It's located approximately 1,000 feet south of Old South Road. And it's also adjacent to a duplex to the south and a single-family dwelling to the north. There's a common driveway that's shared between this residence and the neighboring residence to the north. The lot size is small, it's 4,300 square feet approximately. And we're proposing a 3-bedroom, single-family dwelling with a 1-story massing on the back facing west, which also faces the Meadows 2 apartment complex. The massing is similar in size and shape to the surrounding families, single-family homes, and we're proposing 6/6 white windows with white trim and a Hamilton blue door. I think a natural cedar deck in the back off of the 1-story additive mass.
Sorry, Dinah, did you give me the trim colors?
The trim color we have as white.
As what?
White,
White trim and sash and just want to run through it with us.
yeah, white, everything white except the front door being Hamilton blue.
Okay. Very good.
motion to approve.
It is attractive, you have to say.
Ditto.
Yeah, okay. Well, so there is a motion actually. and
I,
Yeah, go ahead, Diane. Diane,
I'm for it too.
you're for it? Okay, so
I'm for it.
let's go through the motion then, because Val has made a motion to approve. So on Val's motion, Abby,
Aye.
very good. Diane? I know you said yes.
Aye.
Okay, there you go. Stephen? Aye. Okay, Val on your motion,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Thanks, Dinah.
Thank you very much.
All right. No, it looks good. Okay,
Great.
so, okay, anybody else in the queue before we get to Scarlett O'Hara? Sounds like no. So,
Amy Reed, representing the Scarlett O'Hara. My father.
I need his name for the record.
Amy Reed.
You can't be that old. You're
32.
a little kid.
Son of a gun.
We're all little
Graduated with
kids at heart.
Camille.
You did?
I did.
Oh my God. You know,
I'm sorry, I missed your first name.
Jamie.
Daniel, thank you.
Oh, no.
Oh my God, what is going
Come,
on?
Okay.
Jamie.
Jamie.
Jamie. That owl has terrible acoustic.
Sorry. Okay, Jamie Reed.
Sure. So we're doing a 160 by 34 commercial barn, 12 bay at 43 Noblea Farm Road, southwest corner, to match the conditions and details of the two other
Oh, right.
commercial barns across the way.
Well, didn't your dad bring one in?
The one that burned down.
The garage?
Remember when the fire on 43 on Noblea Farm Road?
Yeah,
We
right.
replaced that in kind last year. She's
Gotcha.
building a whole new one across the way from it.
Oh, I totally missed that
Mhm.
chapter. Okay, all right. Comments from the board?
Review this, of course.
I can go.
And
Well,
it's-
hang on, Val's
It's
doing it.
actually, my concern was that it was just a straight line where the other ones have
Jobs.
jogs in them. But after going there, it's sort of in a bowl. Like this property is up a little higher. And it runs just along the property line, so I don't have that concern after having gone there, so I'm okay with it.
Okay, thank you, Val. Abby?
Just minor, I just think those windows, if they could go up one size, they just look so,
You mean
Itty
this
bitty.
horizontal looking ones?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
A little, like make them a little more vertical?
it'd be very nice.
Except no one will ever see that.
Make them bigger.
God will see them.
God,
All right, so that's Abby's comment, just getting them more vertical. And Diane, now that you're in there?
I just would like to see them, as Abby said, the next size up.
Okay.
They just look like
you-
slits along the wall.
Okay,
Yes.
and that would either be a taller 6 light, or you could even go to a 9 light. Yeah.
We'll do a 6 line. That's
Just stretch it out a little bit. Okay. Okay, thank you, Diane. Let's see, Stephen.
Motion approved through staff with slightly taller windows.
Very good. There's the motion. On the motion, Val.
Aye.
Thank you, Abby. Diane.
I,
Great, Stephen, on your motion. All right, and I'm in favor of the motion.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'll tell Camille that I ran into you.
Yeah, that'll be great. And I'll tell Megan the good news.
She's, yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
Bye.
Have a good day.
are you saying there's no one else here?
Well, let's see.
It looks like there's people
Yeah, there's
on,
people like I see John Mead.
Luke's here, Patrick's here.
Lucas Carey.
Carrie, all right. Okay, so for those of you in on Zoom, we're not really sure
you are.
what you're here for. So look at the agenda and let us know if we've just reviewed number 9 on new business of 6, 7.
Is that all the participants?
Is Patrick
Yes.
Okay,
maybe
so
Topham?
Patrick Design Associates, I think I know what you're here for. Wait, Amanda Jacobs just unmuted.
Yeah, Patrick is here for my project. It is at the end of the new business or the old business from June 14th for Race Court.
14th.
Race Court.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just, that is within the old historic district and the revisions have not been reviewed by HSAB nor myself. So
Okay, oh.
That's where that is.
I'm familiar, I remember this project, it's right behind the NHA second concrete building.
I do want to talk about something though.
Hang on one second.
Okay.
Okay, hey, so listen, Amanda and Patrick, way down on the list, there's a few other people that I don't know for what purpose they're here. One of whom is John Mead. John, if you're listening, can you unmute? Also Alex Zara. Or maybe you're observing us.
Mr. Chair, I'm here. This is John Mead.
Yes.
I'm with Alex Saris. He and I are together. We have a project at 14 Hinkley Lane, which is on the agenda for 621 new business. So I doubt that's been seen yet.
Oh, 621. You're way the heck down there.
We're just trying to get a feel for the pace of reviews right now.
Oh, I could have told you that without you waiting so long. This is slow.
Thank you.
Okay, so listen, I want to, because you are actually behind the Design Associates project at Ray's Court, I want to discuss something. So Ray's Court people, the protocol that we normally employ, and I'm sure that we have in your case, is that your project, your revisions are to go to review by the Historic Structures Advisory Committee, HSAB, before they come back to us. And apparently, according to Esmeralda, that has not yet occurred. So unfortunately, I'm sorry that you waited so long to hear that news, but
We're on the agenda for next week.
we want to hear from HSAB on your revisions before we review it, okay? So that's the story on you, which does mean that we are now going to go to the new business of, which one was it again?
14
Hinkley Lane?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we don't have the file for 14 Hinkley because they sent it as a zip file, so I can't pull it up.
Oh, did you just hear that, guys?
Well, is that Esmeralda? Esmeralda, I did share a Dropbox folder that I think you were able to access.
I unfortunately cannot open a zip file. That's why we request PDFs, because it's just easier for us.
Yeah, I did follow up the zip file with a shared folder.
It won't let me.
John, you want to just like present can you want to just let them make you the host for a second? Yeah, just share your screen.
Oh, okay.
14 Hinkley. Okay.
No, he didn't. Why do you think it's okay to use 4%?
No, I'm just saying.
I know.
And like, there was a guy who was number 5, SM1 or something, and he got bumped from 5 to 38 because they have to go to sponsored advisory. It's like, he's been waiting for how long?
That's
And they couldn't.
So we should come up with a policy
Yeah.
whereby if they don't review it within X amount of time, we just move forward.
Exactly.
I mean, you're correct that is very unfair to applicants. I'm happy to see that you say.
If I may interject, the only reason I did that was just so I wouldn't lose him. After this meeting, I'll put him back where he should belong, where
Oh,
he belongs.
okay.
Because I was the one that moved him,
that's
just
fine.
so if we got to it, I wouldn't be given this explanation. I wanted to avoid all this.
Yeah.
No, I know, I'm just,
We're in sort of a rarefied
Yeah.
situation right now. We're just moving right ahead. Hey, so listen, Hinkley Lane people.
Yep.
We got, we have your stuff up on the board now.
there's,
Yes.
You're sharing it, so just walk us through it, if you would. Thank you.
Sure. Alex, I'll let you walk through.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Alex Zaris here. So you can see sort of the road running at the bottom where the cursor is Cliff Road.
Whoops, sorry.
Whoops. You can see Cliff Road and then Hinckley Lane running vertically. So 14 Hinckley is sort of behind the residences on Hinckley. So like 18 Hinckley is where the cursor is. Our project is behind there.
Actually, I'm certainly familiar with this project. I think a lot of us are.
Okay.
And you do an addition onto this building?
Yes, we were the original architects on 14, and now we're doing a small addition on the back.
Okay.
And I think you can see it here.
Hey, FYI, next time you show up, circle, bubble, any revisions that you make, so it's immediately apparent to us what has changed, okay?
Fair point. Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the things we've had in the time waiting is we've seen what the graphics are that you're used to seeing these days. So the red circle's a very good kind of like, look here.
Yep, that's exactly what it's.
Exactly. So John, why don't you walk just the cursor from Hinckley Lane, show the driveway to the property. So that's our driveway.
Yeah.
And that's the approach. Okay, so it's kind of it's a stem, but large property back behind. Very, very limited visibility, honestly, on any of this stuff.
In point of fact, the visibility of this project is mainly down from Hallowell.
Yes.
And that sort of road that always gets washed out.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah.
May I short circuit lengthy discussion on orientation?
Yeah.
Can we please go to A4?
A4.
Focus on 2A4.
2A4.
2A4, yep.
And the addition is the centermost gable.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so it's at the rear of the house,
That's
away from everything that can be seen, correct?
Yes.
This is the side actually of the house that's most seen, because you're gonna look at it, if you look at a locus, it sort of fronts out over that big marshland that's in the middle of Hollowell and everything.
exactly.
So you can see it through there. I know that for a fact, but you can see it at a distance, a rather long distance.
Forgive me, I don't have my bifocals on. What is that street?
Well, there are a whole mess of streets.
No, the one you can see it across.
So Sachem is the one that joins Gosnell and Hinckley. So Sachem would be the road that you would most likely see this from.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, so all you're doing is adding a gable.
Yes, we're adding yes, exactly, a single story gable.
Who is operating the cursor?
I am.
Okay,
Yes.
circle it again. Okay, that piece right there.
Yes.
That is what we're talking about.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I think everybody needs to fold up. I think, unless anybody has any questions about this.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to go.
Okay, Diane, you good?
Oh,
Hang on, I want to hear from Diane. Diane, you still with us?
I turned it off because my dog was barking. I am good with this. I appreciate the small one-story buildings and that building. I think it's good. Thank you.
It's charming. I mean, we rarely use that word, but it's definitely charming. And I actually think that it enhances the house. It gives it more depth. So I think we can move this one.
Motion approved.
I make a motion to approve as submitted.
Okay, Diane, thank you for the motion. On that motion, Abby,
aye.
Val,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Diane on your motion,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Thanks, guys, and
Can
just
they
bubble at
just
the next one.
circle what's
Yeah,
changing?
yeah.